224 Disbands going to be reviewed today. It is the end of season Disband review video for season 2 of The War Within. It is that time of the year again, and I am excited to be back. This was a wild season, but 224 Disbands is actually pretty damn good. It sounds bad, but it is actually 50% disband rate on the dot. It was really surprising. One of our best in a long time, and I personally attribute that to the resilient keystone system. I went from somebody who would never, ever do my own key, like under no circumstances would I do my own key, to now only doing my own key pretty late in the season. Season 3 is going to be even better for that, but I'm really happy with this system, and I think they could iterate on it further, but as it is right now, it's a very good system. Before we get started in these reviews, I want to do a disclaimer. I'm just going to let old me talk about this because I feel like I summarized it perfectly. This spreadsheet that I'm going to show you guys today, and is going to be linked down below for anybody to take a look at, it's just me making my life easier. When I started doing this, it was just something I would use for the regular spreadsheet, which is linked in all videos, and then I would like filter it to disbands and then just go through each of them, and it would take me like 8 hours to go through each of them. So I just made this second sheet, and I started putting like a little bit of an explanation for each one, basically for me for the future. So anything that appears on that spreadsheet and that has that little one sentence explanation on it is me explaining the exact reason that I personally believe the disband occurred. It's not what actually caused the key to fail, and I think a lot of people don't realize that I feel very strongly about all keys that you start should also be finished. So whenever there's like a outlandish or unique situation, that's what's written down there, something that caused that key to not finish, not just not succeed. Since I never actually leave the keys, I don't usually appear on there, but I did start putting anytime when I make like a really bad error, like an error well above my expectations of my own gameplay, then I did start putting that on there just to be fair, because I know a lot of people leave regardless now, unfortunately, just to try to be a little bit more fair to the situation. So with that out of the way, I also want to show a little bit of the stats comparison to season 1, because I think it's really crucial to understand this. Here's season 1, and so the top tab is all runs, and then the bottom tab is just 12s and higher. So obviously keys were pushed a lot higher this season than anybody could have ever imagined doing in season 1, thanks to a lot of different systems. But you see the actual difference here. It's obviously way harder. 12 was way harder. This season we kind of got to above 12 a lot quicker too, but you see there's actually a very small difference, and you see ultimately that the disband rate is way down in there as well, because like if you look at the season 1 stats, you see 57%, way down from that 50%, but then the 12s and higher was actually 66, almost 67%, down over 10%. Anyway, we're gonna be taking a look at the full disband spreadsheet. Again, that's gonna be in the description. Oh, so we are here. The first key that we're taking a look at is a Cinder Brew. First of all, it's a 7, but yeah, Cinder Brew. This dungeon was so hard for us at the beginning. We had a lot of crazy moments from the tank perspective, and if you guys haven't seen the actual reviews that we do of other people's submissions, I would say that this is the favorite, the dungeon that I enjoyed reviewing the most, because there's so many funny, crazy moments. Tanks would just run in and get one shot and instantly leave. The whole dungeon is like waiting at the entrance for people because of how close they are to the start. It was awesome. I absolutely adored this dungeon. This one's not going to go well for us. We are actually going to wipe here, and I think it's because the healer was like lagging, right? This is just like an incredible visual. Have a look at this healer. He is actually going to run from one puddle into the next one and then just fall backwards. Stuff like this physical humor is why I love World of Warcraft Mythic Plus pugging. He runs from one puddle to the next, and then the character just falls backwards. It's so funny looking. Now we see the character like actually sliding around. Looks like he's moving back into the previous puddles. Watch, the character's just like moving on its own. Really bizarre looking. Just sliding from spot to spot. Where's he going? I don't know. Why is he sliding like that? It's so ridiculous looking. The guy actually replies and says, "I'm lagged." Oh yeah, really? We couldn't tell. Oh yeah, that's right, because the warlock gets like really mad at him for lagging. It's like, brother, what is that doing it on purpose? He says, "Can't you release?" 4 question marks. Weird comment back to him. He says, "Can you type?" The paladin says, "Can you type?" What the hell is he saying? Warlock says, 3 deaths and playing with lag, lol, plus 200 IO on new season. This one you don't see very often. We're gonna have actually multiple DPS deaths, from what I can tell, just from straight up mechanics. Look, they're all alive. We're kind of tanking in a bad spot, frankly, but we got all kinds of stuff around us, and they both just run into mechanics. That guy runs into the bomb, so he's dead. I think we've recovered here. I mean, obviously we still have 1 damage dealer dead, but we just battle res the other guy, and we're just gonna continue on with the fight. And then this guy just like out of nowhere just says, "Sorry, I'm bad," and leaves the party. This is the second day of the season, by the way. I looked it up. It's the second day of the season. Gonna leave because I guess 2 damage dealers died on his watch. That's too unforgivable for him as a healer. This one I remember really well too. This healer is going to just get crushed by the box, like actually just doesn't move out of it, dies to it. I'm not really sure what even goes on here. They take the battle res, and then I guess they just instantly dispel me without healing themselves, and that attack kills them again. So they just die twice within like a few seconds. This one's rough. We do a countdown. We put the key in. He's the one who did the countdown. So this is his key. He starts the dungeon and is immediately AFK. In fact, we see him run backwards. I think he might even be going to the entrance right now. But yeah, just actually not here. I guess he's actually outside the dungeon at this point because we don't even see his dot on the mini map. He's back. He eventually does get here. But yeah, he just gets here and dies as we're kind of like wiping to this first pack. We actually had a lot of trouble with this first pack. But anyway, so the leader, the guy who did the countdown and chose to put the key in and then instantly go AFK, says UI took a shit. It should feel better after that, right? Usually. Man, fuck this buggy ass game. Sorry, guys. Okay, yeah, sure. Definitely the problem of the game, I'm sure. So total recording, under 2 minutes. He starts the key. He starts his own key. I cannot express that clearly enough. He starts his own key, then leaves his own key because of his UI. Here's a little bit of a funny one. We have 2 Ragnaros players and a Storm Rage player and an Illidan player. Really a who's who of the funny realms on US here. And the healer is going to die to the swirls, it looks like, fighting this single rock fella. Ultimately take the res. Mage gets hit by a swirl and then like somebody like backpedals into trash here. It's him, I guess. It looks like it's him. Yeah, okay, it's obviously him. He just backpedals into it and then ice blocks and then types this. GG, dumbass. You talking to yourself there? I'm not sure. We kill that pack and move on to the next pack and then like another pack aggroes. Do I just grip? I think I just accidentally grip the wrong guy. I guess that's probably the actual problem here. But I guess probably don't have threat on some stuff. So this balance druid is ultimately going to die to threat, it looks like. Although I'm not sure how, considering he's doing less damage than I am right now. So he dies to that and then types 3 question marks. Never fully learned what's so hard about this. Combining this, obviously the balls maybe. I don't know, but we're going to have multiple people die to this. Mage says key was timed. Why these pulls and why healer is dying. And then yeah, I said it was an error. So I actually recognized that I accidentally gripped the wrong mob. And then instead of blaming me, it just says GG healer dying to feet. What the fuck is that comment? Feet have become a prevalent theme thanks to Xalatath, but even the healer's confused by that. He says what? And then the mage from Storm Rage says dying to feet Ragnaros style. I guess saying that like you're bad because you're from that realm and you didn't move out of mechanics. Then we get this cold ass line from the shaman. He says check your damage, and as he says that, I switch to overall on the chart. If you've watched this channel, especially in season 1, you would actually recognize the person that is going to be relatively featured in this one. This fight was an absolute bear, especially early on. I think they did ultimately end up nerfing it, right? I don't remember exactly what they changed, but I know every healer feared this boss to such a degree. Caused a lot of problems. You see a lot of people unable to like accurately move and dodge the water as well. We're gonna have our first death there. Hunter kind of just dies to a lack of healing, but we do battle res. We get him back up. This is a pretty crazy one here. We have a person with the green mark on their head. I'm not exactly sure who that is, but they go like behind the boss to try to dodge it, and it pulls them back together, which almost gets them killed. Looks like that's the healer who actually did that. This was back when the healer could still get linked, right? Is this the case back in the day? And then yeah, even after that we recover, but we just don't, and we end up losing the healer now. They said, why did you ping right then go left? Just curious. To bait the frontal. I didn't ping though. I guess they must be referring to this moment because this is the only time anybody pings in the whole fight. They're just pinging over there, but it's like, what? That's not anything. I don't think. Like, I don't know who would get confused by that ping at the very beginning of the fight. Further confusion ensues here. We just get back and now we're still talking about this. The guy pings again. Well, there's the hunter who pings twice here. I have no idea what he's pinging. Pings and then says, ah, like what? Anyway, we're going to try it again. Obviously this timer's over at this point, and this is just what the fight looks like. I mean, you can just watch the health bars. I know it's a hard fight to heal. Hunter just doesn't live, like just straight up doesn't live that. Actually looks like he takes like way more damage than everyone else as well. Trying to continue, but it's not really going any better. People are struggling to live that. The healer starts talking again, saying if you can't dodge, seemingly like unprovoked. Hunter says tanking to me. What? Died from the pulse. Check logs, kid, as in no heals with 2 defensives down. Healer says you died both times to waves, kid. Awaken, swap, recount, check log. Logs don't lie. Logs. Shitter healer, laugh Maffeo. So let's try to watch the second death first here. Again, he's got the dot. Everybody's kind of struggling here, honestly. Like nobody looks comfortable on this fight, and the hunter just looked like he's taking more damage than otherwise. Like the water's not even out yet at this point, and the hunter's already dead. Like, I mean, unless he ran into it, went out of his way to run into it. Oh yeah, they're stacked up underneath this actually. Yeah, so we see they actually die, and they definitely do not get hit by a wave. This is the first pull of it. Hunter's standing right next to us, half health already before the waves even come close to us. That wave is going to pass over us. It looks like it might become close to hit him, but he's already pretty much dead at this point at like 5% health or less, and then just not going to live through that. So yeah, I don't know. I get it. It's a hard fight. It's tough to heal, and there's a lot of stress. I actually thought we would see this a lot more, where we have a small amount of mistakes in the beginning, and the resilient keystone system causes people to want to give up and not even try high even with those small mistakes. So we currently have 0 deaths, but we're about to acquire 3 from this pack. I used to do this like really strange, but the Paladin is going to go down to what look like multiple fire debuffs. And then this is the first time we saw nasal pills as well. This is another famous person. We saw this guy multiple times. Another death after the healer dies. Chalk Lesnar guy ultimately going to die as well, looking like maybe to fire or something like that. I guess these guys are all together. The shaman, who's not actually the party leader, says, okay, we are resetting. Not clear why you would even want to do this, honestly. Like, I just don't agree with this. I'm not really interested in this concept. And so ultimately, I think that was actually our first one like that too. Like, even though I think it was kind of a minor offense that we gave up over, that was the first one we saw like that. And so then we just do it again. Same group, we just do it again. This is the reason why I would recommend not doing it again with the same group too also, by the way. If it's not a pre-made, there's going to be some kind of frustration that gets brought into the key. So as we're gathering here, watch how this plays out. This guy's going to have some problems not dying as we're gathering enemies here. Guy kind of just like walks up like really close to this enemy, and it just doesn't reach me before I am able to start hitting it with spells. And so yeah, he's just like right under the weak aura stuff right there, and so he's just going to get meleeed to death. He's going to go down. Then we get that comment there, of course, tank question mark, and we're going to do the exact same thing again. Here it comes. Pull this pack, we're pulling that pack, and then that pack. Obviously we have to wait until they get in range to have threat on them, and they're going to go right for the healer, who's just going to get meleeed by them. This one's a lot more unfortunate, I think, because it looks like they just are never on me. They just don't come through where I'm expecting to be tanking them. And then partially because of the fire, I think, as well, causes a little bit of a problem because I try to run around it to the right, and he's over there to the left. You can see they're on him now, and instead of kind of like bringing them closer, he just kind of like backpedals, and again, melee down. Then this like big fight unfolds. He says, I know why you're in toxic keys. I'm literally getting healer aggro twice now. Shaman says, GG tank, please install new eyeballs. Druid says toxic VOD videos make sense. You attract them. I said they are of other people's keys, by the way. But yeah, this turns into a whole thing. We actually see this guy, and I think that's his friend. Shock Lesnar's his friend. We actually see this guy in another review from somebody else's submission in a different part of the season. It's actually crazy. Gets kind of petty here. The guy says, we're laughing at you in Discord. I said, we are laughing at you in stream. He says, cool, you're 5 streamers. What is that when people say streamers instead of viewers? That's like somebody who's like never been on the internet, I feel like. We actually just talked about this pull in a video a couple days ago. We have multiple deaths here. I'm not even really sure it's to the detonate, to be honest. I think these guys just died of bombs or something else like that. One detonate does look like it's about to go off, but that guy's already dead. I think he just got hit by the swirls or whatever on the ground. Actually, no, that guy's already dead. So he also dies to something else. I'm not even sure to what. But then the monk who has died already to the swirls releases, and then the detonate goes off, so he dies again. We just saw this in a previous review, and then he leaves. Ragnaros, monk leaves within, I mean, how long are we into this footage? 40 seconds. We're talking about 40 seconds into the key, the guy gives up. We saw some crazy stuff on Candle King too. We saw a lot of them in the reviews, but we also saw a lot of them on the stream too. We actually made a clip about it. I don't know what this fucking guy is doing here, but he is gonna get the arrow, and then he just seems to like run in between both of them. I have no idea. He just like runs all the way to the back of the room. I think it might just be slightly off angle there, and it's gonna hit him and kill him. So we're gonna wipe there. We're actually just gonna reset it. And then this one, I actually thought we would see this more throughout the season, but we are not going to get this kick. There's just to be clear, there's a bug. I'm not really sure what's going on with the weak aura. I probably need to update it or something like that, but it does say my interrupt is up. I moved the footage. You can see it is not actually up, so it's like a couple seconds off for some reason. I'm not really sure why. And we actually all get feared right on top of each other, and that just kills everybody. That's really funny. This one I remember very clearly, and it still haunts me to this day, honestly, because this to me represents just the gradual deprogression of the community, kind of mentally, kind of skill wise. Doing this in this safe spot here was something that players did every single key without question in BFA, and somehow people were not able to do it, especially kind of early, maybe even more to the middle of the season. And not doing it is one thing, but we actually get into an argument with this guy who's saying that like this is not a good idea to do this. The guy says, sorry, but this is your fault, tank. Why the hell are you doing a safe spot in a 14? Just move the boss. I think what he's saying here is it's like this key is like too easy for this strategy, but it doesn't make any sense to me because there's like literally safe spot for a reason. You just do this every time. There's nothing hard about it. The shaman seems to be on my side because he was actually like trying to ping these people to know what was going on mechanically. He says, none of your deaths were at where I pinged. The guy says, keep going in the safe spot. You will time all mother loads. I don't know. What do you guys think? Now that the season is over, the dust is settled on mother load, does anybody debate that the safe spot is a good idea? Like, I still can't understand it because like I said, in BFA, okay? Literally every single time I did this dungeon, we did that. As soon as we learned about it, we did it for 2 full years. Never once did we ever have anybody argue about it. And then somehow 5 years later, it's become like too difficult for people to do or something. I don't fully understand it. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Okay, we're back here again at Swamp Face, one of the hardest healing fights, I think, especially at this time in the season. And again, it's looking pretty scary. Everybody who's got the dot is well under 50% health, and we are struggling to keep everybody alive. They all get the dot refreshed on them. It's surprising that nobody's actually died at this point, but yeah, Druid is so close to death there. Mage does, what is that, hypothermia debuff on him? That's like ice block, or there's like a new talent or something for it. So anyway, after doing that, and he's being at full health pretty much, he says, healing, question mark? Nobody's even died yet. We haven't actually had any issues yet. Probably not what you want to say in the middle of the hardest healing fight in the season, and this guy's not going to be very happy with him saying that, let's put it that way. So he just like leaves in the middle of the fight. The mage says, healer's trash, with like a squiggle face. Hunter says, we've done it before, free. I don't know what he's saying. Route was bad and single target was low. Now it's like turning into this weird everybody else is the problem thing. Druid says, the route was fine. The hunter says, no, it was bad. I said, was there anything that was good in your opinion? And he says, no. This is the moment that changed my approach to Theater of Pain right here, by the way. At this point, I was like kind of laissez-faire about doing the dungeon, but this guy convinces me that we can use mass invisibility to skip this. To this day, I still don't know what the truth is here, but after this, I will never trust any of these like borderline options. But we talk about this for like minutes. Look, he says, I'm going mass invis, so press your pot for damage, because we're talking about just invis potting. We talk about this for like 5 minutes straight, and then watch how this plays out. We get down here, I guess the guy mass invises, I don't even know, and it just doesn't fucking do anything. The guy's just on his mount, I guess. Is that the problem? I have no idea. Like, look, the mob just like never isn't, like, he just sees him. Like the second we walk by, he just sees him. So Azralon Warlock ends up getting threat, and then yeah, we're just gonna wipe to this basically, and that's the key. And then after, like, I'm talking about many minutes of doing this, look at my reaction, by the way, you can kind of see it. The warrior just leaves. Really paid off there. That was really worth it. Scattered to the wind. Boom, 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 boom. It's like the Dragon Balls after Shenron gets summoned. The warlock says mass invis didn't work. So anyway, then I started organizing groups based on what I believe to be like the most optimal way to do some of these skips. So we are going to use the warlock portal here, and we have a incredibly funny disband because of it, I guess. I'm not even really sure. We had this kind of happen a few times in a few different situations, but I guess one way or the other, this shaman healer is not able to click this. It won't let me take. The warlock seems to already recognize that there's an issue. He says jump. We are actually going to have a disband over somebody being unable to click the portal, and it is simply because they are a Vulpira. Apparently that is what the conversation seems to lead to, because the guy's Vulpira. I have no idea why he can't click it. Like I said, I'm trying to minimize our failure points here in theater, and they are just not happening. Here we go again with more of this. After we got the resilient keystone system, which I still say it's very, very good system, but the thing that sucks about it is when your key is resilient and you keep failing it over and over again, it gets very demoralizing, very boring. So I just wanted to change the fucking key. I don't want to do rookery for 6 hours straight, you know what I mean? So I listed it. I said this is a completion key. We're finishing it no matter what. Okay, you see the chat. The druid says, why don't we just time it? Oh, great idea. That'd be awesome. I would love to do that, obviously, but if we don't, I want to finish it. But he says, why don't we just time it and not worry about completing? And I should have known. I should have known that that was going to be the problem. But again, agrees to join a completion key. It's labeled completion. We're talking about it being for completion as the priority, and this guy's basically trying to convince me that I'm wrong while doing it anyway. Still agrees to do it. We accidentally aggro the boss here. I think we actually ended up looking at this, and I think it was the pet. The pet just takes like a really weird route around here. It's got like 1 second left on it as well, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, you see the pet jump through, so that aggroes the boss. And guess what's gonna happen, guys? The druid leaves after we accidentally pulled the boss. I tried to type to him. I said, oops, did you forget about the agreement we just made? Here's another funny moment, threat moment really, and it looks like I like either just missed the blood boil or something like that, but I don't hit the one mob with blood boil. So this guy, who's doing, by the way, 18 million DPS right now, dies to threat as a hunter. Do they not take misdirect anymore? This was like a weird common theme. I saw this a lot, where these hunters would burst like out of the crazy numbers here, and then they would just die to threat. So anyway, it's the first pull of the dungeon. Obviously we have a battle res, so we battle res the guy. What, like you couldn't time this worse, I think, right? Like look, he takes the battle res, and like I have to like advance the YouTube video by frame to be able to show you guys this. He almost never lives again. Like It's actually funny. Takes the battle res and boom, dead. It's like instantly dead again. Another good bit of physical humor here. We are going to have the feral druid, by the way, dies to the like frontal or whatever. You can see him like kind of swiping around here, and he's gonna run from the one frontal into the other frontal, and then he just dies to that. And so instead of, you know, trying to do it without him, we just run down the stairs and reset it. I think probably you want to just let somebody res you here, but he's actually gonna release, like instantly snap release. So now we're gonna sit here and wait for him to come back. Pay attention to what happens to his character on the way back. What's that debuff? Why does he have 2 electrical debuffs on his character? You guys tell me. He is going to die again. He actually, you can see on the minimap, he runs through the puddle, which I think a lot of people probably didn't even know is like a death sentence. Like it just instantly kills you for some reason. Love the last comment of the dungeon is, do we lust here or no? As the guy leaves the party. The answer is no. Okay, this one I remember. Again, I'm bringing compositions to this dungeon to try to maximize our ability to do this without any mistake possibly happening. And of course, you know how that backfires. So this warlock just like doesn't know where to put the portal or something. I'm not really sure what we're even doing right now. He's just not putting the portal down. We talked about it. I always typed out this like big paragraph about when to use the portal, and for some fucking reason this mage just starts walking down the stairs. Like what are you doing? He literally, look at what is he doing right now? He just walks down the stairs and he tries to invis. That's a mini boss, you can't do that. So then he just dies to it. Mage says brother doesn't know the skip as he just walks into the mini boss. Okay, this just cracks me up. Like we just stand here for like a ridiculous amount of time. Everybody's just sitting here. The one thing, the druid does use the roar, which I didn't realize you can actually use the roar for both of them. I guess it times out that way. But I always just said like, all right, let's use warlock gate for the first one, roar for the second one. Everybody talks about it before the key. We all agree to it. And then this maze is just like, yeah, no, I'm just going to try to like run into the wall here or something. Doing it again. Here we are. We're right back into it here. Again, we talked about it. We're ultimately going to take like a minute to use the warlock gate, but we are going to use it. We have the rare wipe to this boss. I almost never see a wipe to this boss. Azralan, Resto Shaman going to go down. He just onks though. He comes back up, then dies again, this time to the frontal. I don't know. He just like isn't able to get out of it. So he just dies to it again. Shaman says, sorry, I guess this is a bad day. I love the comment from the Demon Hunter too. He's not sure. He says, GG, I think. Well, yeah, the healer's dead. We're going to wipe here. The Warlock, he is going to start making fun of that guy. He says, GG, I think. This was GG on the first boss. So this is how I just started handling it. Just be like, hey, yeah, I'd like to finish it though. You know, I don't know. It's like impossible. It's just like an uphill battle the whole season, trying to get people to finish a resilient keystone. It's actually crazy. The guy says, I ain't got the time today to finish this. What are you talking about? I said, we aren't even halfway through it. His response as to why he doesn't have time to finish this is because he has a kid. Oh, guess where we are again, guys. We're back in theater here. You'll see a familiar composition again. So again, we do this weird thing here where we all agree to use the warlock gate for this one, and then the guy just roars anyway. Again, I guess it's not an issue. I don't fully understand that part, but I was assuming that we're only going to be able to use one for each, so we use warlock gate for this one. So healer goes down, then other people follow him to the grave. And so again, we agreed to use the druid roar for this one. They have to use the warlock gate to get here again, but apparently on the way back, the druid uses the roar just to get back faster, I guess. So we don't actually have it here. It doesn't say we don't have it here, so I assume we have it, and I guess some people were relying on it because we just don't make the skip. I was always of the mindset that this is not a problem. That's why I always said this is a very safe skip, because you can just fight this guy. It doesn't cause any issues for the route or anything like that. But yeah, a lot of times people just don't do that. They just up there. Everybody else is just up there. It's just me and Faxi down here fighting it. Here's a good little clip. I actually go all the way back to the beginning here. So I'm explaining how to do it to these guys. I explain it to them and nobody answers, right? So I says, I'm talking to the warlock and druid. Do you guys understand and agree? And they both say okay. And then we just don't use the spell that we asked for. We just don't use the assigned spell. Okay, this one's actually insane. This was like some kind of bug, I guess. I get randomly snapped. I think a mob falls through the floor. Other people were saying that they saw it happening in other people's like streams and other people's keys and stuff like that. So I guess it was just a bug for a few hours. But we're fighting this pack right now. A little sloppy, but we only have one death here. By the way, this is like an incredibly important key for me this season. We are on pace to upgrade this very, very comfortably. As you see the timer, we have 12 minutes left at this point, only one death. We are upgrading this, and as you see, my character continues to just move on its own here. I'm not really even sure how else to describe this. Like, I'm running away from mechanics and I'm being pulled back to them. You see that? It's like really confusing. So we are going to have our second death to that. Because of that, I'm not really sure why anybody dies there or what's even going on here, but it just continues to happen. But that's not the hard part. Now, this is the hard part. Watch this. We're going to try to skip. I'm going to run down here. I'm going to aggro this trash, and watch this. I'm going to get ported back up the ledge. What the actual fuck is going on in this video game? Just aggro's the whole thing. Actually, it's probably salvageable, but it's like so alarming. And you see the bee is actually back now, and it's there, and you can actually see the health bar. Also, like the insane cluelessness cluelessness you see in DPS. This isn't a 16, by the way. These guys are this clueless. The guy says, what is this? That's the craziest pull I've ever seen. Somehow doesn't see my character constantly getting ported. I said it was some bug, and he goes, question mark? You ran up. Like, what? Are you fucking serious, brother? You think I'm lying to you? Okay, now we're into the Parasol phase of the disbands. We have, again, a comment on the screen. I'm telling you guys this beforehand. Going to be doing the Parasol skip, so make sure you are ready for that part. We talked about it before the key. My favorite part of the season. Here it comes. We're going to use a Jade Parasol and gently float down, not going to fall to a plank and die. And as you see, there's already somebody down there. Multiple people, actually. 2 people already down there. I guess at this point, we probably should just like aborted mission and just try to go around here and just be over count, but I just don't notice it. So those 2 guys are just down there, Rogue and Warrior. Couple options to try to salvage this from their end as well, and they're going to choose none of them. They're just actually going to try to run past the trash, I guess. I don't know. Maybe the guy tries to like shroud or something. I don't even really know, but like the Warrior is just here now, and so is the trash that we tried to skip. So he just brought the entirety of all the trash that we were trying to skip over to us. Now, this is the reason that it's on the sheet in this way, is because the Rogue says, GG, nice try. My bad in fucking raid like a noob. I still don't know what this guy's talking about. People are thinking he's saying he's in raid spec and he's apologizing for bad damage, but like obviously nobody cares about that when we're wiping because people don't do a skip. I personally think he's saying I fucked you guys, so my bad is what he's saying, but the way he says it, fucking raid, I guess he's just used to maybe saying that in a raid context, like I screwed the whole raid over here or something like that. I don't really know. While I have you guys here, somebody's got to explain to me what the hell the point of this like weak aura or add-on or whatever this is. This evoker is going to use a potion and then die, and it says use tempered potion, and then it's going to like type out the value of the potion, I guess with relation to the WoW token. So he says he used 1 cent on that potion or something like that. And then anyway, because that guy died, this shaman just leaves. Sorry to distract you. We're back to Parasol skip failing. Here it goes. Gonna do it again. Same situation, almost identical situation here, really. You can already see there is somebody who is not doing it. If you look at the mini map closely, we are gonna land on the trash and carry on as if everybody is doing it, of course. And yep, again, mini map really showing the separation now. Mage just like, I don't know, just doesn't do it. I don't know, does slow fall work here? Like just chooses to not do it. Again, we talk about it before every key. And again, as you see, just like, what are you doing? Where is he? So now I'm ready for it. Now I'm used to it. You see, okay, so he tries to like run around. I guess he tries to like invis. You can just res him. Like that's what I was saying. It's like really not a problem here. Unsung in this is a demon hunter. He just dies to the trash itself. Okay, but now the healer is for some reason commenting on this. He says, mage and demon hunters, you guys are suck. And I love the mage like instantly knows he's been called out. So he just says, I did after just saying mage. That's it. He says, I did. Like what? You did what? You ran through trash? Is that what he's saying? No, we don't fail the Parasol skip this time. This time we just wipe to the boss. Again, a big argument over it. I said to the guy, are you aware of the stigma of the Azraelon server? And he replies, come lick my balls. Now I have to say, I really like my reply to that. I said, why? This shit pisses me off though. Watch. I try to type to the guy again. Watch. I said, are you attracted to me? Oh, another great reply here. I'm killing it right now. Anyway, I try to ask that guy if he's attracted to me. Like, why would he want me to perform sexual acts on him? And I'm not allowed to type to him. But guess what he's allowed to do? Learn to pug properly before talking shirt. My reply, that's again not going to go through. I said, what? By not inviting Azraelon, you mean? He wasn't going to like that anyway. Talking about this in a review of somebody else's footage. I think it was Cops footage actually a couple weeks ago. You see this mob? I'm attacking a mob and it is evading. It's attacking the druid. He's up there. Him and looks like maybe the shaman too. And this mob is attacking them. They got threat on it before I did and it is now on them. And it's just full health. Like, I mean, I don't know how the fuck people don't notice this. It's actually crazy. But this mob can't be interrupted. It can't be stopped because it is evading. So it's just casting lightning bolt over and over and over and over and over again. We are actually going to get the rest of the pack killed and nobody even notices. Like nobody even comments on it even. Like I had to bring it up to these people for them to realize that the mob was evading the whole time. I think it's the Resto Druid in general here that causes this because we've seen it a lot with Resto Druid, but the Demon Hunter says we need kicks. Like, brother, are you fucking serious? The Druid, who probably doesn't even have his kick talented, said, yeah, no kicks. I said, do you guys really not realize that? And they just don't reply to me. A lot of blame on healers this season. Does look like maybe we're having a little bit of trouble healing people up right now. I'm fairly certain that this guy dies to this mechanic. It does look like he is not receiving a lot of healing or perhaps taking more damage than everyone else in some other way. But when this like tornado thing comes out, if you get hit by this, it does a lot of damage, right? Like, am I wrong about this? I don't know. But this guy's at like 35% health or something like that, and then he instantly dies. I think what we see here is he takes the portal. You can can actually see. Look at the portal location. He's gonna just appear there as the tornado passes over him. So he clearly gets hit by the tornado here. Then goes on to say this after doing that. He says, look, I'm just not getting healed. I'm popping every defensive right. I'm always low as fuck. So this time we battle res him, and then he's just gonna die again here. Dousing breath goes off and he just dies. Like, what the fuck? Is his gear broken or something like that? I don't know how that's a healing issue. I don't understand what's actually happening there. But he says, again, see, I mean, brother, you were full health and then you were dead. Like, I don't know. We sure that's a healing issue? I don't know. Okay, we got an all-star comp here. This is actually a viewer. I'm pretty sure this healer is a viewer. We ran into them a lot. And then we got a warlock named the Diddler. Okay, great name. Evoker, just like, I don't even know what kills people on this pack, but this guy just like gets destroyed. He's gotten fucking annihilated by something. We are going to use a battle res on him. Not me. It's not going to be me. It's a warlock. Yeah, it looks like Soulstone. He's going to cast Soulstone on him, and he's actually going to fucking take that battle res right before the hardest boss in the dungeon. Drawing Candle King now. You guys know how hard this fight is to heal, especially at a higher level. Just going to kind of rot out. I guess we didn't do a great job. I think there's a lot of these little wax men or whatever the hell you would call them at this point. So we have multiple deaths to this as well. Actually, we have multiple deaths. Evoker's going to die first. We have 2 battle res. Don't forget, we used the one on the trash. So you battle res 2 people here. Priest also going to die, but that's like later in the fight. We got 50 million left, so we are going to be able to finish it without the healer. But we have no battle res for them anyway, even if we wanted to battle res, and it is ultimately going to die. Now here we are on the last boss, and because we used that battle res on trash earlier, we are not going to be getting another one inside this timer, and the healer is actually going to die here again. So I think the focus is probably more on their deaths than anything else. They actually just get one shot by that. That's kind of crazy. I'm pretty sure they actually get one shot. Like, look at this. Yeah, full health, right? Look at that. Full health and dead. What the fuck? Okay, you guys got to tell me about that. But we don't have the battle res because we used it on the evoker on trash. Unless you're sure you're going to wipe without them being on the trash, it is never a good idea. It's like, oh, we saved a few seconds by battle resing that guy, right? Like, what else is the reason to do it? There's no value to it. So it's going to actually take a really long time for us to wipe. You can actually get really far into this fight without a healer, but the Diddler says GG when heals died. Like I said, a viewer, so we are advocating to finish it, and we're not going to do that because the paladin is like really mad at him. He says, fuck you, healer, and then I guess kicks him out of the party, and then the person is sitting here and saying he kicked me, report him. Oh my god, man, this game is something. So good place to end it. I think that's one of the funnier ones of the season. We never had that crazy moment though. Like in season 1, if you guys didn't see the season 1 one, you gotta go check that out because that's crazy. Never had that. Never had that like one crazy ass player who just goes nuts or does anything insane. So I guess in that way, the season was really good too. Like this was actually a huge improvement because we never had crazy people. But that is it for the review, and you guys might know we always try to end on something a little special. In the first video, I accidentally included a clip of me singing in the cut, and ever since it's become tradition. So we are back, and this time we are paying tribute to a legend. Somebody who is a big reason why I am the person I am today. Here we go. I am the door that hides the universal secret of all time. Destruction of the empty spaces is my one and only crime. I've lived 1,000 times. I found out what it means to be beneath the thoughts and images, the unborn child who never was conceived. When little worlds collide, I'm trapped inside my embryonic cell, and flashing memories are cast into the never-ending well. The name that scorns the face, the child that never sees the cause of man. The deathly darkness that belies the face of those who never ran. You gotta believe me, I'm talking to you. Well, you know, it's hard for you to know the reason why. And then I know you'll understand when it's time to die. Don't believe the life you have will be the only one. You have to let your body sleep to let your soul live on. I just wanted to include this because it's pretty crazy. I was looking at the lyrics, right? And it says songwriters John Osborne, Terrence Butler, William Ward. You forget that there's actual people behind these personas at times. If you guys don't know anything about Black Sabbath or Ozzy Osbourne, you guys should honestly go listen to stories from their lives, listen to people talk about their careers. If you think some of the disbands and stuff that have gone on this channel are funny, they got some stories, man. That is it for this season. We will be back tomorrow with the big start to season 3. I will be streaming no matter what. Thank you guys for watching, man. This was a great season. I really appreciate all the submissions as well. If you guys are out there thinking about it, do submit more runs in the beginning, especially of season 3. I think it's going to be really wild. That's all I got, man. Thank you guys for a great year. We'll see you guys in the next one.